I'm trying to find a good spot to film where there's no one to judge me. I don't know, you think this is a good spot? Hi, I'm Brie. Welcome to my channel where I make stuff out of clay because it's fun. I've made a couple videos in the past now inspired by Animal Crossing, but today we're really branching out, you guys, to a different Nintendo franchise, The Legend of Zelda. This series has all the makings of a great fantasy saga. A magical princess, a tree with a mustache, fairies that boss you around, and an evil warlord turned demon king. But my inspiration this week comes from Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, just full transparency with you guys, I did not play this game through myself, but I did watch my boyfriend play it. If a game has any type of like complex fighting or battle sequence, if there's more than one button or toggle to attack, like, let me just stop you right there. It's probably not the game for me. I'm more of a like Stardew Valley, harvest my crops, rebuild the community center type of gamer. But I really like the story and like the world building of Zelda. I like the graphics, I like the vibe, I like watching it. And Breath of the Wild features these little creatures called Koroks, which are these little like forest spirits that you find throughout the game. And when you do find them, they make just the most delightful sound, which has kind of become like part of my vocabulary now. Just, it works so well to express just life's mundane joy. Like when work is over for the day, you find that missing sock under the couch. When the oven timer on your lasagna goes off. Anyways, I love the Koroks. I wanted to make them, so let's just get into the project, shall we? Okay, hey guys, let's get into it. I'm going to be using Amico air dry clay, and I've got a little bowl of water off to the side here and some different clay tools and paintbrushes to help me out. Now, getting into the sculpt of these things. Their form is pretty simple, but it also leaves some room to be creative and kind of make it your own. I started with a thick kind of egg shape. It's giving me like the body of Grimace from McDonald's. But the head is different. The Koroks have little pointy crowns that resemble antlers or branches on top of their heads. And this is where you can just like have fun with it, make it your own, however you want it to look. Mine just kind of looks like little twigs with some nubs, some little sprouts here. And then I'm just gonna pop on some legs and arms, reinforcing those pieces with some extra clay around the seams. And then I'm gonna use a wet paintbrush to just smooth out all that texture. I went for a relaxed pose with this guy. He's just sitting, he's chilling, he's enjoying the breeze. Now, originally, I just planned on making 2 of these figures. They'd be a sweet little pair, they have adventures, it would be great. But this is around when things started to escalate because my boyfriend walks in and he goes, "Oh, you should really make 4 of them, and then you could theme them after the 4 seasons." God, yeah, all right, you got me. That sounds really cute, you know, I like that idea, and now I have to do that. I have to make 4 of them. So we're just gonna kind of breeze through that process. I did the same thing for all of them and just cut to, here they are. Here's the squad. Things did go off the rails a little bit when I decided to experiment with one of them and give him some little booty cheeks, because then it was game over. Then they all had butts, and I don't think that's in the game, but hey, maybe it should be. Now there's one more thing I need to add to these figures before they dry, and that's their little leaf faces. It's their hallmark trait. I've cut out a few different leaf shapes here to play around with and just see what leaf fits best on each face. And to attach those pieces together, I'm just scoring each side and then squishing them together with some slip from my water dish. And then I'll also use that slip to fill in and smooth over any cracks in the back of the leaves where they kind of like protrude out from the body. And then I don't know why I didn't film adding on their little noses. I guess I did that off camera, but I gave them noses just so we're all aware. And then, ta-da, the magic of editing. Here we are, 2 days later, all dry and ready to paint. But before I do that, I'm going to lightly sand over some of the areas that dried just a little bit bumpy, mostly just on the underside of the figures. And then we're just going to get them all primed up with a nice thick coat of white acrylic paint. And once that's looking all smooth and ready to go, then it's time to bring out the colors. Now I'm going to start with the spring-inspired figure here. This little girl just had the cutest pose. She's got her little waving hand, the heart-shaped leaf. I felt like she just embodied spring the best out of the figures. I'm going to do her body in brown tones. So I've got a golden brown here that I'm laying down all over the base. Oh, really got to get in those cheeks. Had to show that. Okay. Then I have a chocolatey brown that I'm going to use to make the kind of striping, the like woodsy pattern that the Koroks got going on their skin here. Once I'm happy with that, I get to move on to the leaf here. Now I chose a lime green color for the leaf, but I'm gonna layer in some shamrock green here into the center and kind of blend that out with the lime to create more of a gradient green. So it's a little extra something going on besides just the flat green. And then I'm deviating wildly, from the typical Korok face here. I know they have very simple expressions, like just little stick figure faces. But I wanted more cute, okay? I had to do some big rosy cheeks and some bigger starry eyes. I did give her a little smile, and to make it read more spring overall, I dotted on some little pink flowers on her skin, kind of like cherry blossom inspired vibe. And lastly, I wanted to add some vein details to the leaf, but I was too nervous to do it in paint because if I messed it up, I really didn't want to have to repaint the whole face. So I opted to use some watercolored pencils, a questionable choice, but I like how it looks more subtle, the veins are kind of set back. I like the look of that. But it does beg the question, how are you going to varnish that later? And I do not know, okay? That is a problem for future me. She will deal with that. But for right now, we're going to move on to the rest of the figures. Next up, we're going in order here. We're doing summer, and I'm going for an all green motif with this one. I believe this color was called Spanish Olive, although it looks more like the shart of a baby right now. Luckily, it did get better as the coats went on. But now I'm taking a darker forest green to add his markings. It kind of came out looking like camo. That was unintentional, but I still like it. And then for the leaf, I started out with a lime green, but then shifted the base color to a darker green and then used that lime green to create a little gradient towards the center of the leaf instead. I like how that makes the face like pop a little bit more. And this fella is getting some cheeks as well, had to, also in green. He's getting some similar eyes to the spring figure, but a little bit different expression, more curious, inquisitive. And I added some more detail onto the leaf with the colored pencils. And then I also painted on some tiny like baby leaves on his body. I just felt like he needed a little accessory as well. And then he's done. Yeah, I like him, a little cutie with a booty here. Next, we're on to the autumn figure, and you'll notice this guy has some what looks like extra appendages on his side here, but I have a plan for those, what will be his seasonal accessory. I'm going for browns and oranges with this color palette. I did a reddish brown for the base and then a burnt orange color for the markings. And this pattern, I kind of made more bubbly, more cloud-like. It can be whatever you want. You can make these different. I'm not good at symmetry, so this kind of like bubbly, abstract pattern, that works great for me. Now back to those little bumps on his side here. Yeah, these are supposed to be like oyster mushrooms growing on the side of him. I painted those with a cream color and then just did a darker brown for the underside. And then for the leaf, I chose another kind of like rich orange color that's gonna fade into like a darker red around the edges. And then I popped in some bright orange and yellow in the center of the face, yeah, to make that pop. We're gonna bring his nose back into the mix with some brown. And then this guy is also getting some rosy cheeks. Are we surprised? But no big eyes on this one. He is going to be asleep. He's peaceful. He's one with the forest. And I know he already has his mushrooms, but I couldn't stop. So I added some little spores, some fallen leaves. I don't know. He's got dots. I like it. It looks cute. But now we are on to Winter, our last figure. This one gave me a time because I didn't know how to paint it. I didn't want to do brown because I had already done 2 brown ones, and I didn't want to do white because that's no fun. So I landed on just a cool tone color palette of gray and blue, which was actually really hard for me because I don't enjoy the color gray. I don't. Like, name 5 good things in life that are gray. Maybe a rainy day, a dolphin, a manatee. That's all I got. I don't like gray. I think because my main gripe being that at some point in the past few years, someone decided that all homes should have all gray color palettes. Like, does anyone know what I'm talking about? Who did this and why are they so hateful? And if you're like, ma'am, you have an all gray kitchen, I would say, yes, that's exactly my point. Every apartment I toured, all gray. Gray everything. Gray floor, gray tile, gray paint. Why? You have a gray heart and it shows, frankly. Okay, anyway, back to Winter. I gave him like an icy blue, windy kind of pattern on his skin. I went with a frozen leaf motif on his leaf with a face that really just reflects how I feel about the color gray. Sad and disturbed. Look, he's got some tears. He needs a tissue help. Got some little like fallen snow. And he's good to go. But before we move on, we're going to pause from a word from our sponsor. Hi, hello. Okay, sorry about the noise and the mess. Just stop. Don't look at that. Now is the time of the video where I have to deal with the consequences of my actions, that being the watercolor pencils that I decided to use. Now, I know for a fact that the varnish, the glossy clear varnish that I normally use in my figures is just not going to work on top of these pencils. The varnish is water-based, so I know that as soon as it hits these pencils, it's going to liquefy and disapparate and like poof, it's gone. So what I need to try to do is create some type of barrier between the pencil and my varnish. Now, I found this in my art supply collection. It is a spray finish, an acrylic gloss finish for paint. It seals in the paint and makes it waterproof, which is key for what I need. So what I'm gonna try to do is create that barrier just by doing like a light spray of the gloss finish spray, and hopefully that'll set the pencil in place, maybe. And so then I can put my varnish on top of that. Okay, let's try it. Let's see if it works. I did a few sprays of that on each face, and to my surprise, this actually worked. Okay, the pencil did not smudge at all, and look at how glossy it made these. That is true sparkle. Yeah, I think these should be sealed enough to go over everything with my normal gloss varnish. This one's by Deco Art. I love this stuff, and everyone is gonna get a few coats of that, and then let's see what we're working with in the end. They're cute. I like them, especially all as a set together. I also had fun taking them around the woods and posing them for really no reason except my own enjoyment. All these guys are now listed in my Etsy shop if you'd like to adopt one as your own plant guardian. They need homes, especially winter. Look at that guy. He's sensitive. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!